Namaste. Hi there, Facebook. This is Pele. I just wanted to share with you some neck and shoulder stretches today. For those of you who maybe think you can't not do yoga because you have neck pain or because you have tight shoulders and you rarely even put your arms up over your head to either take your shirt off or maybe to dry your hair or maybe to even put on some crystal deodorant. There are all kinds of things that you can do to help yourself. So hopefully you are taking the time every day to do the following. So with the neck, if you're sitting at a desk, oftentimes your head is either turned to the right or the left. If you're looking straight ahead, it may be a little tilted forward. Some people kind of lean with their head back and then they look down. So always try to keep your head center and neutral. But if that's not the case and you experience pain, it's good to stretch the neck at all angles. So with your hands interlaced behind the base of your head, bring your palms, cradle the base, and then pull your elbows in toward each other. Notice if your shoulders hike, pull the shoulder blades down, and take about 10 breaths doing this particular stretch. Bringing your chin to chest, keep your spine straight and erect. Breathing in and out of the nose. When you inhale, you lift your chest up to touch your chin. And as you exhale, you pull the belly in and keep your shoulders down. From another angle, so you would hold that for about 10 breaths. And the next stretch you could do is if you were sitting on the floor, you'd place, say, your left hand. If you're mirroring me, your left hand is underneath your hips, palm face down. Your right hand goes over to your left ear. And then you drag your right ear toward your right shoulder. Close your eyes and just hold the pose for 10 breaths. Breathing deeply in and out of your nose. Sit up straight. And then to get out of the pose, use your hand to lift your head up. Now do that on the other side. And be sure to breathe into the tight spot. Breathe into the neck. Breathe into the shoulder. Keep your shoulders down. And keep your neck relaxed. To release the pose, you use your hand and lift your head up. And then one more is just 10 kisses to the sky. Throw them up. And each time you kiss and lift your head up more, you'll feel a little more tension in the back of your neck. This might hurt some people. If it hurts too much, then don't do it so intensely. If you don't have to do it at all, but you could also move your chin forward. So this is the side view. And you have to make that sound, okay? Or move it forward. Pull the neck back, extend, pull it back. And you should feel a lot of energy running through your neck. something to do to strengthen the shoulder girdle. It's called wrapping the shoulders. You bring your elbows up the same height as your shoulders, and you place your hand in the forearm, and the heel of your hand touches your elbow. Your hands are active. That means the fingers are spread very wide. And your shoulder blades don't lift up here. Notice that if the shoulders are up here, you are not in the good position. You are going to hurt your neck. So keep your shoulders down. Keep pulling them down. But notice if your elbow falls down. Don't do that. Lift them up. All right. So you take a few breaths, about 10 breaths here, and then you switch sides. And you do about 10 breaths here. And your goal is to notice if your hand pulls off of the forearm. Press your hand back every time it comes off. Press it back. And your chest muscles should also be engaged. So your elbow is the same height as your shoulders, and your hand presses into the forearm as you deep breathe into your upper back. When you're in this pose, you will notice that you can spread the ribs throughout your back. So, if you didn't notice that my ribs were spreading, then maybe the lighting isn't good or you're not close enough to me. But I know that it's very much an intentional breath for me to breathe into my rib cage, and so that your ribs are doing this expansion and separating. And on your exhale, they're kind of slightly coming back in. You're trying not to let them come back too much because you want to keep extending and spreading each time you inhale and exhale. It's so important to get a deeper breath in the body. So after doing this side and that side, then the final one would be to bring both arms up for 10 breaths. And as if you're holding a beach ball, your fingers are spread very wide. You're holding with your forearms and your hands. And again, the elbows are not lower than your shoulders. They are the same height as your shoulders. And then to make this more intense, you can pull those elbows in more, and the hands go apart and looking like a V. And just test yourself to see how long you can keep your arms up there. All right, so we're looking for 10 breaths. And then we can go into some shoulder stretches. So the right arm, let's say you bring your arm up behind the head. For those who may be driving in a car one day, you want to do the stretch at a stoplight. You can do this by just simply bringing the opposite arm up and just grabbing the elbow and just continue working the elbow behind the head and enjoying the stretch. You hold that for 10 breaths, and then you do the other side. Now for those who have the flexibility and who maybe have more space, the full stretch for this one is when you bring one arm down behind the back, and I'll turn around for this one, and the other arm up. And try to interlace your fingers. If you cannot interlace, you may be able to hold your clothing. And then stay there for 10 breaths. After 10 breaths, switch sides. Again, notice your breath and breathe deeply into your chest for 10 breaths. And then you can also move into eagle arms. So you would bring, let's say, one elbow over the other. Some people might just get stuck here. If this is where you're at, then just keep lifting your elbows up and working, trying to pull them all the way around until your hands can either come into prayer or you can just grab your fingers or something. Try to keep your fingers straight for this, getting a twist in the wrist and the elbows. The idea is to keep your shoulder blades down the back as you do this, Sometimes the shoulders hike up, but just pull them down, and notice if your elbows are down here, they should be up, off of your stomach, height, shoulder height, and your hands not on your head, but away from your face. 10 breaths, and then switch sides. And then release. Then you can interlace your hands behind your back. If you can sit on your knees instead, you can always switch the cross of your legs and do different things with your legs. And then the hands interlace, shoulders roll back. And then just lean forward and lift up your arms. Taking deep breaths. Holding that pose for about 10 breaths, and then releasing. So those are a few things that you can do for your neck and shoulders. I know they're simple. You've probably done them before. You've probably seen them before. Just think of this as a reminder, because you probably aren't doing anything for your pain. So let's do something. Until next time, namaste.